Hey, what's up everybody? This is Chris with Digital Rim, and in this video we're going to show you how to set up your own personal live stream. Pretty much what software we use and how we do it, so you can do it as well. So let's just go ahead and get started. Alright, first things first, when setting up your live stream, you're going to need to go get a software that can handle your live stream and stream it out to multiple platforms or different platforms. So the live stream we like to use is called OBS Studio. Another one is called Streamlabs OBS. You can choose either or, it really doesn't matter. It's like apples and oranges, so one thing is better than the other at certain things, so you could just choose whichever one you like the best. We're going with OBS Studio. So I'm going to show you how to get to OBS Studio and how to download it onto your computer. So let's go. So right here you can enter in your URL, you can enter just obsproject.com, and when you enter obsproject.com you should get to this OBS Open Broadcaster software. Pretty much you just hit whichever platform you're using and download it onto your computer and run the install on your computer and get it going, right? It's an open source software, so it's free. Again, it allows you to stream to YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and even more. There's other little plugins that you can put in that make it stream to other platforms as well. So that's pretty much what you want to get started with. Go to obsproject.com, download that to get started. Okay. So when you get started, you're going to get something similar like this. It's not going to look like this. I promise you it's not going to look like this. Only reason this looks like this is because I'm trying to record, stream at the same time, and everything else. So it's not going to allow me to show the screen, show my face, and everything else while showing the mouse. So forgive how it looks, but work with me. Here we go. Boom. So with that being said, what you're going to do when you first set up your or open your OBS, none of this will be here, none of this will be here. It will look more like this. So we're going to set up a new scene. Let's make a test scene, like test. Let's rename it. And if you need to rename it, you go to right click and it will bring up the other menu. Scene, let's say scene 1. We're going to call this scene 1. And we're going to make another scene, or yeah, let's make another scene. So we're going to do it again. And then scene 2. So it named it scene 1 and named it scene 2 right there, right? So in scene 1, now you want to enter sources. Sources being anything that any input that you could bring in to your actual scene. So input being audio, video, graphics, pictures, whatever input you can bring in, it'll allow you to do that in the source part of the screen. If you see right here, the source part of the screen, right? And before we get to that, if you notice, well, we'll get to that in a second. So in the source part of the screen, if you hit this add button, add a source, you have all of these different options of sources that you can add, right? So what the first things you want to do is do a display capture. So a display capture, let's say, is my, let's just call it screen, right? And when you have a screen, you just, pretty much pick a display that you have and then drop it on there. Boom. So you probably can tell that this doesn't look right because it's way larger than it needs to be. But if you right click and then hit transform, fit to screen, boom, fit to screen, and it pops right in as the screen. So it'll look just like the screen that you've assigned to it. So if you have multiple screens, you can have one screen showing, one screen showing while you can work on the other screens, and that can be hidden while the one screen that you want to show will be showing, right? So let's just call this scene 1. This is scene, this should be scene, this is scene 1. And what we're going to also add to scene 1 is a video capture device. Now a video capture device being, if you have a webcam or something like that, that's going to bring in that information from that actual device. So if you have a webcam, it's going to bring in the video from that webcam and the audio from that webcam. Before we even click on that, we can just go down the list because we're not going to open this again. But you have the audio input, so that's if you have a microphone, external microphone. We have an audio output capture, so if you're outputting to like some speakers or something, it'll capture that audio as well. The browser, so if you have a web browser that you just want to capture only the web browser, what's on that web browser, so if you want that web browser to show up just like this screen and that's the only thing you want to show, so you don't want to show your whole screen, then you could just do the web browser, right? Color source is just like if you were trying to put a background or something. If you just want a blue background or whatever, it's just a color, a box or whatever, it's just a color source. It's nothing special about that. Display capture we just did, that's capturing your display, capturing your screen. Game capture, this also allows you to, if you have a PlayStation or something like that, if you have an Xbox or some type of game console, you can capture the gameplay on that console, so you'll be able to capture that gameplay. Images, you can put images, like pop images on the screen and things like that. Image slideshow, media sources, and we keep going on down the line. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, like text, scenes. You can actually nest a scene inside of your actual scene. So again, you can pretty much do your homework on this part. I really don't want to go too far down into it, but again, you can learn these things. So what we're going to do is do a video capture device. A video capture device, like I said, being your camera. So we're going to call this, I already call it camera one. Let's say render cam. I don't know, main cam, right? Main cam. Go to device, you pick a main camera. Boom. You pick a main camera, and there you have it. So you might be asking like, okay, the main camera is too big, or you want to resize it. If you want to resize it, just drag the handles on the side and resize it to where you want to be. So you just resize it down to here. Boom. Now you have your face showing and your screen showing at the same time. Boom. So in scene 2, we don't have anything yet. So in scene 2, what we're gonna do is go ahead and grab that main camera. So we're gonna do this, another little trick. If you right click on something again, you can copy and then go to scene 2, either right click in it and paste like that, or you can, Control V and paste. And then you see that actual layer is going to show up just like it did in the other scene. But what we want to do is resize this. So we're going to resize this to fit the screen. So fit the screen. Boom. So now you have a full screen. You have one full screen, and then you have a screen that has the desktop and your face or whatever. So let's say the only reason I'm having it like this, because when I transition to the screen, I still want you to be able to see my screen. I could put it on another screen, which I did in the last video, and it didn't work out well. So we're just gonna do it like this, right? Where we have the matrix at the end of the day. So now that you have two scenes, you have a full screen where when you introduce yourself, like, this is what's going on, blah blah blah, talking, this is what's going on, this is how we doing it, boom 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 boom. This is what we're going to talk about, and then you're like, okay, let's go into it. Then you go into your scene, it transitions to your scene like this, right? But this isn't a transition in a nutshell, right? What you want to do is set up your transition. So if you see there's a transition here, and you can click here, and it has these different types of transition options you can click from. We're just going to stay with fade for right now. Just to keep it simple, we're going to stay with fade for right now so you can just see. So you might be, more than likely, your screen looks like this. When you first open OBS, you have one big screen. It didn't look like studio mode. If you want your screen to look like this, like studio mode, then you can hit studio mode here on the right side, right? And what studio mode allows you to do is, like we did before, you could prepare whatever screen here, prepare it however you want to prepare it, but this over here is going to be what's showing. So currently what's showing is going to be on the right side. Whatever you're preparing to show is going to be on the left side. And then when you hit this transition button, so let's say we want to go to scene 2 where we had that full screen. Once you hit that transition button, let me think what's going to happen here. It's not going to show my screen. It's not going to show my screen once I hit this transition button. So I'm not going to do that. That's the mistake I made last time. But once you hit this transition button, it'll transition to the full screen, which we will do later on after I finish explaining the interface, right? Boom. All right, so after I finish explaining the interface, here on the audio mixer, whatever audio input that you get, currently this audio input is coming from the camera. You can toggle and toggle off. So you can mute it and turn it on and turn it off. So you can have multiple things, you know, turned on, turn off, turn it down, whatever. So if you have music in the background while your audio being the main audio, you can have that. Let's go ahead and go over this right side here. So you can have the streaming where you start, it'll say start streaming when it's not streaming, and it'll say stop streaming while you're streaming. Currently we're streaming, so I can hit stop streaming, it'll shut off everything and shut off all the streaming to Twitch and YouTube and then wherever I'm streaming to. So that's a simple hit of a button and it's gonna stop streaming. There's a stop and start recording. Currently I'm recording because this is for the course, so I'm recording a video so it'll be available for the course. When I go back in and edit it and make it available for the course, then it'll be ready. So I'm recording an actual movie file right now while streaming. All right, so you go into virtual camera, and virtual camera you could do some homework about. I'm not going to go into, but you could do some homework about virtual cameras. It really just allows you to tap into your whole interface with other platforms. So tap into it, learn about that, right? Studio mode. Studio mode, again, like I said before, you can toggle from pretty much this interface mode to studio mode. So, and then that's going to be that. So we're going to go over some quick settings real quick. If it'll pop up while I'm streaming. Boom. Quick settings real quick. So you have like your general settings. You have your, I'm not going to open the stream. I'm not going to open this stuff because it's like personal information and keys and stuff like that. But you have your general settings, which go into like general settings. Just go through all of this. Streaming settings, output settings. So output settings usually consist of what type of file format you want to use when outputting a video. If you can output MP4 or MOV, what do I output? Let me see what I output. I believe I output an MP4, but I'm gonna double check real quick. Boom. Am I on the wrong one? It should be right there. Screen MP4. So I output MP4s. Usually, this is also dependent upon your machine. Like the higher resolution, if your machine can handle higher resolution while streaming at the same time, go ahead and push your computer to limits. But certain computers, laptops or things like that can't really push high video resolution and record and stream at the same time. So you have to kind of tweak it and figure out where your computer is best lies so it performs at its peak performance. Because again, you don't want lagging and stuff like that. You don't want your video to lag where you're kind of jumping frames and stuff like that. Audio, again, you can look at all this stuff, and figure it out for yourself. There's definitely I would go over it, or we could probably go over audio. So you have different audio selections. You just select your audio like on your different audio inputs. I mean, it's really straightforward, all right? So you have all of this different stuff that you really want to get into. Really, why I'm not getting into too much is because there's personal keys and stuff that really allow, if you share that with somebody, it'll open up what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody potentially has the ability to gain access to your computer by knowing your access tokens and things like that. So that's why I'm trying to be like iffy about what I'm actually going to click on. So be careful. Again, be careful if you're trying to share this at all. Be careful with if you're trying to create a video similar to this, be careful with sharing your settings and things like that, because you don't want to share your like authentication codes and things like that. You don't want to do that. So going back to actual OBS. So we're in the OBS right now, the actual interface, and what we're going to do is just transition between the two different scenes. So we created scene 1, which has the desktop, and then scene 2, which doesn't have the desktop. So currently we're going to go into scene 2 by transitioning. So all you have to do is hit this transition button. Boom. So now we're in scene 2. It's pretty much a full scene, just like usually when I start my videos and end my videos. It's your full scene. So we're gonna just hit that transition button one more time, and it's gonna transition us right back to where we were before. Or that's a lie. That's not scene 2. So we're gonna do it one more time. We're gonna transition out to scene 2, and then we're gonna transition to our scene 1. So boom, this is our scene 1 where we had set up before. So we set this up just now, scene 1 and scene 2. Now what you probably noticed just a second ago when I transitioned back, it really just, if you have 2 different scenes, if you hit transition, it just flip-flops. Unless you go in and actually select the new scene that you want to select and put it into the queue, it's just going to flip-flop between the 2 scenes. So you can have a scene full screen and a scene showing your screen, and it's a flip-flop between the 2. Transition between 1 and the 2. Like, okay, I want to show my screen, I don't want to show my screen. I want to show my screen, I don't want to show my screen. Boom, just like that. So that's pretty much how you get started. Now with that being said, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cover it. So now with that being said, you can also, this is more advanced, but you can also get something similar to this. If I could get it off this thing. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull it up off this thing. You can see it on my, you can't see it on IG, but you can see it here. You can get something similar to this. And what this does is allow you to assign certain buttons to transition to certain scenes. So you could assign a scene to this button, a scene to that button, a scene to that button. So then you can transition between those multiple scenes by the click of a button. Or start your stream or start your recording by the click of a button. So that's very useful. The key to that is you won't be able to be in the studio mode. So you would have to be in this full screen mode like this to be able to engage your keys like that. But with that being said, in studio mode, it allows you to go ahead and like edit your scene, build your scene out before you even transition into the next part. So that's valuable within itself. So if you're just getting started, don't necessarily worry about, you know, setting up your buttons or anything. Just worry about getting OBS, doing pretty much what I said. Get your screen capture. Your screen capture, what is it called? It's called screen capture, right? Getting your display capture that captures your screen, and then getting your video capture device, which captures whatever webcam that you have. And you just assign those 2 things and then scale them up and scale them down. And it's a simple click of a button. Like I could click in here as well, and you'll be able to scale, you know, scale whichever one you need to scale. So if I want to scale this up, you just grab the corner and scale like that, boom, and just get it to perfect where you like it the best. So with that being said, yeah, I think that's pretty much going to cover this video. I'm going to hop out of this scene into our real outro scene. So just like I'm doing now, I have an outro scene that I already have set up. This is how I personally have mine set up. I have an intro scene, a main scene, and an outro scene. And each scene has its own elements within that scene that I would toggle on and off depending on what I want to do. Right? I have my like waiting scenes and things like that I also set up as well. Again, these are all things you want to utilize, especially when you're trying to run a live stream and have like a channel. You want to utilize this. So when you have a be right back scene, you can have a be right back scene with your branding, how to find your Instagram, and then, you know, you go take your break, come back, get it started again. Or if you have a scene where you have a guest speaker, you have your one person on this side, you have the other person on that side, and y'all can all be branded within your brand. So I'm gonna transition into the main scene. Y'all, I hope y'all got a grasp of how this all works, and I'm gonna just transition back into the main scene like so. Boom. And as you probably know, as soon as I transition to the main scene, I have the like and subscribe pop up. So that's your prompt to go ahead and like and subscribe to this video. Like our page on YouTube, subscribe to our page on YouTube, like this video, do all of the above, but more importantly, go to digitalrem.com and get your membership. Go to digitalrem.com, digitalrem.com, and get your membership so you get first access to these video courses that we're creating for the community. So we want y'all to get first access to these videos so y'all can give us the input, what you like, what you don't like, and also input what you need and what you don't need. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was valuable to you. And again, do that one thing that takes you closer to your goals. Like I always say, every day live at lunch, do that one thing that takes you closer to your goals. And y'all take care. Later, y'all. Peace.